Welcome, everyone. I'm very happy to see you here. My name is Sarah Peyton, and we're here today to do this, just sort of in some ways, the most wonderful class of all, the most wonderful exploration of all, of the way that resonance changes us so deeply. It almost brings tears to my eyes. I was just looking at the research this last week on what attunement does inside of babies' nervous systems. I mean, I've talked about the brain before, but what I discovered in my research this week was that our capacity to be bonded to one another, which is what we're going to be looking at today, the nuts and bolts and specificities, the rigor, the precision with which we humans have a capacity to notice that one another exists and how that changes us. What I discovered this last week, which was extraordinary, was that when we are babies and we get to bond in the way that we'll be talking about today, it forms the entire flow of oxytocin throughout the entire nervous system. And if we didn't ever get to experience it as little ones, and we start to do it as grown people, it begins to change and balance our nervous system in entirely new ways, ways that certainly for me, I had a lovely but mentally ill mother, um, and and I experience being changed every day. I'm at the present time, I have a 16 and a half-year-old tortoiseshell cat who is in the process possibly of dying, who I've been sitting with this week and just being with in this very way that we'll be looking at what it's like to be with one another today. So I will introduce you to Jen, who is our co-host. Jen, would you be willing to raise your Zoom hand so that people can see you?
Yes, I'm not able to raise my hand for some reason, but when I talk, they should be able to see me. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jen. Thank you so much for helping us today. And then you'll see that there are a number of folks on the call who have who have a little asterisk and the word assistant before their names. And if you folks would raise your Zoom hands, that would be wonderful. They'll be working with people in small groups, so that if you'd like to do the exercises on your own, you get to. If you'd like to be in a small group where there are two people doing the exercise and you get to be a witness, then you'll get to do that. So, so we're just very, very happy to be with you in this experience. Okay. Now, what we'll do is we'll open the slides. So our practice today is called The Art of Rigor and the Craft of Resonance. And I live on land which was taken by false treaty by the US government from the Chinook people. So I donate to the Chinook Nation in honor of this struggle that they are in. And our plan for today is that we'll be looking at this question: what is rigor? What is resonance? What are the 9 forms of resonant language? Why is rigor important? And we'll do some experiential explorations so that you can start to feel with your bodies what the difference is between being in instrumental space and being in transactional being in an instrumental or transactional space versus being in relational space. And we'll take a look at advice versus simple acknowledgement. And then in the last, this is a 3-hour, we had scheduled 3 hours. The last half hour will be connecting with the folks who are well, we have at least one person who is the director, one of the directors of the Resonant Healing Practitioner program. Lori Delaney, would you raise your hand? And we also have your Zoom hand. And we also have Maya Wyberska with us, who is doing this program in Poland. So Maya, would you raise your hand? or your Zoom hand. And both of them will be with us in that last half hour to answer any questions that you have about the program. And now we'll move into the slides. Thank you both. So what we want to do is to give everyone an experience of resonance as something different from our ordinary get things done, move through the day, somehow manage our to-do lists, which have ballooned beyond all human capacity to perform them. And we will also introduce you to the guardrails of resonant language and the beauty of staying within them. And then finally, in that last half hour, to help folks who are interested in the certification program, the Resonant Healing Practitioner program, to enter the program with excitement and anticipation about the rigor and focus required for this practice, for the year of practice that that program provides. Okay. And I'm just going to stop the share so that I can make sure my chat is open. The chat was open before I opened the slides, but then it disappeared. So let's see what happens now. Okay. What is resonance? Why is it important? Resonance is a two-person system. It can be more than two people, but we feel it most clearly when we're in two people systems. We can empathize or have compassion all by ourselves. We can be one little drop of water on a leaf, just working away on taking care of ourselves, or driving by people. I mean, I drive by folks who are houseless, and I'm like, I have lots of compassion, empathy, care, tenderness. They don't know that I have those experiences. I'm driving by in an enclosed vehicle. So what's really important about resonance is that with resonance, we're actually coming into relationship with another person. When we have an experience all by ourselves, it can stay in our bodies for decades. So if we have a difficult experience, like if we have a car accident and we never talk about it and nobody ever says, oh, is it like this for you? Was it like this? Then it can stay in our bodies and just live there, just inhabit us, bring back old memories. I had an experience with it with one of my very first boyfriends showing up again. I was 13 to 22 when I knew this man. He showed up, and he after he left, there were so many things about the visit that were amazing and wonderful, but there were so many things about the visit that were difficult that I notice are riding in my body as an after effect of the meeting. I noticed day before yesterday that I was having shame when I thought about that person, and and I was like, wow, I got to name the shame, but I wasn't talking to anybody else about it. And then yesterday incredible, I had this incredible support. Somebody was really listening to me deeply with resonance, and they were and as they listened, I could find sort of complex and difficult emotions that I couldn't find by myself. I could find a little bit of rage. I could find tenderness. I could find um, um, a kind of a claustrophobia that was so intense that it really took somebody else saying, "Oh, is it like this?" And when they were in that relationship with me, the experience changed. And now today, I no longer am running into these shame bubbles connected to this. I mean, that's 40 years ago. Which is such a testimony to the way that, difficult experience stays alive in our brains and comes back to haunt us, and how being accompanied and connected with another human begins to change us. So that's what we're here to look at today. And the reason that the memories stay with us and the emotions stay with us is because we actually are made for emotional accompaniment to help us integrate the hard stuff. With resonance, another person is entering our experience with us. They remain, they remain entirely and fully themselves. They are not subsumed by our experience or consumed by our experience or taking over our experience. They are just entering it with us and saying, oh, is it like this? I love this picture so much. And their attuned presence changes everything. That picture makes me cry. Attunement is when we bring our attention to another person and let ourselves be changed by them. It says here, a quote by Daniel Siegel, he says, attunement requires presence, but is a process of focused attention and clear perception. It is the we. We create the we. So if you look here, there's almost a palpable we in this relationship between this father and this baby. There's such a focus and a commitment and a devotion to that particular beautiful, tender connection. This is so amazing. When we give our attention to another person, our brains and our vital signs actually shift to align with what is happening with them. We do get to enter their experience with them. When we make them the focus of our attention, not an external focus, but a kind of a really deep, soft focus of our attention allows us to shift and experience things that have meaning in the context of the space between us. But before we are changed by the other person's experience, which is the second level of attunement, where if we're paying attention, we will experience the welcome attunement, being changed by warmth about or delight that another person exists. So our first exercise is to learn to and practice letting ourselves be changed by another person. If you start to notice that that you can enter others' experiences if you let yourself do this, this is the starting point for intentional attunement, which is an essential part of resonance and accompaniment. This next thing that we will be learning is the thing that changes the world the most. It inoculates the people you care about against depression and a sense of meaninglessness. It supports their immune system. It organizes their brain. It lets their oxytocin system flow. Your oxytocin, it turns out, is not responsible just for bonding. It's responsible for all of the rhythmicity of the human body. Oxytocin is the foundation for our rhythmic experiences of existing. Think how much of us has rhythm at its basis: our heartbeat, our breath, our the way that we come into different kinds of puberty, menstruation, birth, the rhythms of birth, the rhythms of nursing, the rhythm. There's so many rhythms that are just foundational for human life. So this is the foundation of everything, and so it's the best gift that you can give your children, the people you live with, and it's not even worded. It's just letting yourself experience delight that they exist. Um, Now, let me just check with Jen and find out how is the breakout room effort going.
Yeah, so quite a ways away still, Sarah. Like 10 minutes maybe, maybe less. Yeah, doubt it though. Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll do a demo of this. I'm going to do a demo of this with an assistant so that you can see what it is that we'll be doing. and should I do it with I'll do it with a participant, actually, somebody who's never done it before. If you've never done an attunement exercise before, just raise your Zoom hand and I will take the first person who raises their Zoom hand. Well, yeah, thank you. Wonderful. So, so we'll do a couple of things while we're kind of learning about attunement and getting to see the demo. We'll do the attunement demo. We'll do a round of needs met and gifts received for Olya, so I'll teach you about that. And then we'll do a little bit of a conversation about contagion. And folks, if you don't know how to rename, go ahead and put your request, what you'd like to be renamed. So Heather, if you'd like to have an equal sign in front of your name, just say, I'd like an equal sign in front of my name. And one of the assistants will help you with the renaming. And so we'll do the demo with Olga. I'll do the we'll talk about we'll do our needs met and gifts received, and we'll talk a little bit about contagion, and then you'll go in and try this out for yourselves. So what a wonder. So now we'll spotlight Olga and Sarah. Is that something that you'll do for me, Jen?
Second, I see to close the breakout room thing. What is the person's name, Sarah? Sorry.
She has her Zoom hand up, so she's right at the top left corner.
Thank you.
There we go. So there's Olga. And maybe somebody can put a 1 in front of Olga's name for us while we're doing this. And Olga, hello.
Hi.
So what we get to do today is I get to, first of all, I'm going to attune to you, but the first thing I need to know, in order to know that I'm changed by you, I have to be able to know what's happening inside of me. So the first thing I do is if it's helpful, I close my eyes, or if it's helpful, I keep my eyes open and I just say aloud. And you're welcome to say aloud what the kind of fluffy things floating through your mind are. My brain is like totally trying to track whether or not I'm making any sense. So it's like a little spooling device, and it's talking and then it's checking the talking. So it's like, hello, there's a lot going on over here. And so then I allow myself, and my body is like a little excited to be with you all. My heartbeat is a little bit fast, my shoulders are a little bit high. And then I allow myself to pay attention to Olga. And there's such a sweet moment of connection and of noticing, oh, here's another person who exists. I get a little bit of kind of a stinging tears in my eyes just with delight. My face feels like it's going upward. And there's like this kind of gentle, like if I had a little sun in my chest and it was kind of pulsing gently. Well, yeah, how is it to have the attention come in this way and have me be changed by you?
Yes, it's for me. It sounds like magic in some way how we can connect with each other and really feel like the change. So it's that's why even through the screens because it's like okay, it's when I put more attention, I kind of noticed it at the same time. So that's great.
Oh, so glad.
Mhm.
And I'll put the instructions into the chat so that and we'll go through them again because but I'm going to do this just one more time with Olga because sometimes are what our thoughts are what change instead of our body sensations. If we've not had another person really notice our bodies and talk to us about body sensations, there we go, there's the instructions in order, um, then we won't necessarily be able to feel our body sensations, but we can notice what happens with our thoughts. So you'll remember that I had said that I was noticing that my thoughts were spooling and unspooling. When I bring my attention to Olga and allow her to be the focus of my attention, then um, then my thoughts settle. They stop that spooling and unspooling. And there's a little bit of a quality of breathless anticipation. It feels a bit like a small circle of rabbits sitting and waiting to see what will happen next. Rabbits who like Olga and are interested. Oh, Olga, thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before I start teaching people how to do needs met and gifts received?
No, everything's fine. Looking forward to hearing from you forward.
Oh,
So,
wonderful. So here's Olga. She has come to be with us. She's stepped forward into our public view. So the way that we recreate a balance where whoever it is that's received the attention comes back into the group and knows that they still belong and matter is that we tell them what gift we received from their presence. We tell them how we were touched or moved ourselves or what need was met. And so I invite you, the folks in the circle now, to say a need that was met or a gift that was received from Olga being our first person to volunteer today. And I'll read you 5 of these needs, and then I'll go on to talk about contagion, Olga, and you'll be able to read the rest of them by yourself. Lori Delaney says, needs met for presence, openness, authenticity. Catherine says, gift received of willing exploration with curiosity. Debbie says, gift received of vulnerability and courage. Celeste says, need met for willingness to receive and exploration of beautiful attunement. And Carrie says, courage, Olga, well done, thank you. And then I'll read one more. Reverence for modeling, says Lisa. So thank you all for being willing to put your needs met and gifts received into the chat. Okay, thank you, Olio. Now we'll come back to, we'll take you off speaker view and we'll come back to, talking about a couple elements of trauma that come with this experience. Now, it's interesting, as we touch into this, we're actually touching into very early nonverbal experiences of connection with whoever it was that was our primary caregivers, whoever was our primary caregivers when we were small. Might be connections with moms, dads, older siblings, might be grandmothers, cousins, depending on sort of the structure of the family and who was most important, and how we were cared for. Then those people will be figures that we don't, that they're so early, they're nonverbal, but they're part of the picture. And so experiences that we have had about trauma can be very interestingly alive in this very simple, the 4-minute exercise will give you more like 6 or 8 minutes, but it's a very short and simple exercise, but it can take us into very deep and interesting places and sometimes difficult places, because babies are born into communion with the people around them. When babies are born, the people around them are not really separate from them. The part of the brain that creates a sense of separation and a differentiated sense of self is in the left hemisphere, which is not receiving the spurt of growth in the neural connections that's happening in the right hemisphere. I don't know how many people have ever done hallucinogens, either experimentally for pleasure or for healing purposes. They've become incredibly effective now for healing purposes. But that sense of dissolution of self from others is the right hemisphere. The sense of union with everything. And so we could almost say that babies are living in sort of a semi-hallucinogenic state for those first 18 months to 2 years, when their brains are not yet giving them the message that they are separate from others. So what that means is that if our mom had postnatal depression, for example, now if we ourselves had postnatal depression when we were small, and we've created more and more and more connection with our kids as we go on, I just bow to everybody, because postnatal depression is like 1 in 4 people have it. So, but if we have a parent who's depressed, if we have a parent who's mentally ill, if we have a parent who's suffering from addiction, if we have a parent who's completely distracted and unable to have any moments of attunement with the baby, it becomes really important to shut down our attunement capacity. So if we have a sense that we've done that, we get to be incredibly warm and gentle with ourselves. And just we get to say to ourselves, I'll just let myself have a blink of this, and I will be incredibly self-compassionate with myself, that I have very good reasons for not finding attunement easy or simple. So we may, instead of having, and I'll do this with an assistant, so it's not alarming a participant. Sonia, you want to be my buddy for me explaining terror really quickly? Okay, so let's will you put your Zoom hand up so Jen can find you easily, Sonia? And Jen, will you spotlight me and Sonia real quick? Okay, thank you. So here I am. I get into a breakout with Sonia, and I have a past history of the people around me having difficult emotional states. So I get in and I don't I'm not like feeling a delight and a warmth and a welcoming and a rising. The first thing I'm feeling is terror, because because was what makes sense to my body. So if that happens, I just breathe, and I just very gently, either aloud or to myself silently, I say, "Oh, Sarah, of course you have an experience of terror with another human being. Of course. And let's just sit and see whether, as we let ourselves know that Sonia is actually not connected to any experiences I've ever had as a baby, let alone any terrifying experiences. I just wait. And then as I wait, then I can feel this softening and this noticing of Sonia as a being distinct from those other experiences of difficulty. And I get like this little kind of crackling opening in my chest. It feels like little faces peeking out and looking to see how this is. And there's the beginning of the delight that Sonia actually exists. I'm letting myself be delighted that Sonia exists. Some people say, "Oh, but I'm grumpy. This is inauthentic." Here's the cool thing. You can be simultaneously grumpy and delighted by the existence of another human as an almost infinite system. You don't have to worry about the problem with authenticity. You don't become suddenly a saint. No, you remain your grumpy self, and you let yourself be moved in a small place within you by the existence of another being. Because Sonia, just like everybody, has 86 billion neurons in here inside of this funny Zoom square. There are 86 billion neurons over there. There are hundreds of trillions, thousands of trillions of neural connections. And so this is great sweetness. Thank you, Sonia. Thanks for doing this with me. Now, I'll do one more thing with Sonia, and that is to help you notice when you've gone too far. So there are 2 stages of coming into, or possibly 3 if you count terror. There's terror, delight, And then there's a deeper attunement. So here I am, I get my terror, I move through my terror, I have my experience of delight. Now think of something a little bit tricky or difficult, Sonia. Just tell me when you've got it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So then I just had another wave of delight, so I'm waiting for that to pass. And what I start to get now are heavier sensations. There's kind of bars of tension across my ribs, my lower ribs, or heart and lower, and a sense of holding my breath, and there's squish in my stomach just a little bit. What are your body sensations, Sonia?
I have those bars also. And when you said lower ribs, I was trying to see if that materialized, but then when you named the heart, I thought, oh, wow. Yeah, I feel very caught by that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. I want to honor that, and then I'll keep talking about the logistics of this. So about 40% of the time, I personally have the experience of there being some connection between my body sensations and the other person's body sensations. But 60% of the time I don't. We'll talk about this again later. But what I want you to notice is that if you start to feel some heaviness, or when you're doing the welcome attunement, when you're working with delight, if you start to feel a heaviness or a tension in your stomach, you've gone too far. You've gone into the second level of attunement. So you get to come back out to delight, and you get to be with the delight, because that's what we're learning. We're starting to learn. This is our first place of rigor, is to begin to differentiate the first or delight terror response as the first level of attunement, and then the second level, which is this deeper attunement. And so thank you very much, Sonia. Now I'm going to come to questions in the chat. So Pooja says, how do you wipe it out without carrying it? And what is the second level of attunement? Here's the thing. We're not in attunement carrying somebody else's experience. We are being our whole selves, and we are stepping into another person's experience as if we were going into their living room. So it's like you've stepped into their living room and you're going, oh, here's what it's like for me to be in your living room. What's it like for you? And then we're stepping out again. So Pooja, we're not carrying what other people bring. If we find that have a very great tendency to carry what other people bring, it means we have a contract from infancy to take care of our parents by sharing their experience with them. And so if that's true for you and you'd like to just observe an assistant working with somebody, then you'd go, or two people working, then you'd put a 1 before your name. So there are ways to work with this so that your body gets to become a body that tells you a lot about what's going on in the world, and lets you be tell you a lot about what's going on, and lets you be able to have attunement and delight. Here's the wait, I'm not delighted, I'm terrified slide. So, and here's our changing and welcome. And the warmth of the welcome attunement is indispensable for resonance. It's the keystone that keeps the entire structure from collapsing. So a part of the answer to your question, there was a question. How do you step back out, from Janet? You step back out by bringing your attention back to yourself. So in the first, so if you find you go too far, if you find you slide right into difficult body sensations, then you just bring your attention back to yourself. Your body sensations follow whoever you're giving the most attention to. It's kind of a neurobiological law. And Pasha says, do you see or feel a difference being in this space in the physical presence versus online? A little bit, but surprisingly less than you would expect. As you start to learn it online, you can easily start practicing it with people that are around you. You can do it with, since it's nonverbal, you can practice it everywhere. You can practice it in the grocery store. You can practice it in relationships with children. You can practice it with animals, as I have been doing this week with my little old cat. So, yeah. And now let me check with Jen. Jen, how are you doing?
Probably another 2 or 3 minutes, Sarah. So there's just some things moving and changing now, but I have everyone in rooms. So
Yeah, now that people have a sense of what's going on, I'm sure that they can more easily tell what they'd like. Yeah. And Beatrice, did you get, oh, I see your thank you. Okay, so Beatrice's question got answered. And there we go. Okay.
Can somebody put in the chat what the star means before the name or something?
Sure, that means that that person is an assistant.
Oh,
And
okay.
we put that star before their name so that the Zoom tech person, so that Jen can find them really easily and distinguish them from other people. Yeah. Did you get your question answered?
Yeah, what about the other? Is there like the equal sign and the one?
The equals sign means you don't want to go into a breakout room. And the one means you want to be in a small group with an assistant and get to watch, maybe watch somebody else work.
Ooh, that's what I want.
Okay, great. If you have any trouble, then getting your one on, well, we can just ask them.
No, I have it. I got it.
Very good, very good. Okay, so Nancy now has a question. So the exercise assumes consent. What if someone wants attunement and I don't want it? Well, in this breakout, you get to put an equal sign in front of your name and not go into, and if you don't consent, then put an equal sign in front of your name. But in real life, you just, if so, it's such an interesting question, Nancy. I'm trying to imagine how to, I, do you mean like if we were in a grocery store and I was attuning to you and you didn't want me to be attuning to you, you shouldn't necessarily, it shouldn't be very invasive at all. But I guess it's nice to have consent. Nancy, do you want to ask that question for me in real life so that I can actually see whether I'm answering you at all? Tell me what you worry.
Should I do it audioly or do you want me to put it into the chat?
Oh, good. I'd love to hear your voice. Then I'll be able to tell better whether what you're exactly asking about.
Sure. So I had a situation where someone wanted empathy because I'm in the nonviolent communication practice. I was doing what I think is empathy, which is reflective listening and guessing feelings and needs, but it wasn't helpful. And at one point, the person expressed they wanted that attunement that you share because they've attended your thing.
Oh, interesting.
And at that point, I was like, what wasn't alive in me was that they actually had a situation which I grew up with a very similar situation. At that point, I would not be able to give that person that attunement because it's very triggering for me.
No kidding. Of course, if you're
And
triggered.
I just felt like there wasn't a dialogue of what we expected. So it became something that I was surprised at and I couldn't give. And I felt really kind of useless actually, because I had the intention of helping, but then I also spiraled into doing something that was not empathy. And that's mine. I totally take accountability. But then I was left with this feeling of like, there's a phrase called mugging for empathy. That's how I use. And I just felt like, ooh, like they expected something from me that I couldn't give. And it just bad.
Well, it's so interesting. What you're really pointing us toward is a deeper understanding of the nervous system, that that the nervous system has to feel safe in order to be able to attune. So there so so it's very important to have this agreement, like, yeah, am I just doing like regular MVC empathy without attunement, or am I wanting to go more deeply in? Now, for those of you who love nonviolent communication, I want to point you toward um, toward Jim Mansky and his beautiful work with the 0 step, which is the step before making feelings and needs guesses. And so it also appears in that step before, where we make the other person the focus of our attention. Attention is something that occurs also in traditional NVC circles, as well as in the world of resonance. And at the same time, what a cool thing to, actually have an agreement about what the intention is, and what you can do. Because once there's a demand in the space, then it puts the nervous system into fight, alarmed aloneness. And we neurophysiologically cannot settle into attunement, which is one of the reasons that I try to talk about the terror. We could also have a resistance in that exercise if we really wanted to try the attunement, but we know we have resistance. Then we could be very warm with ourselves in the resistance. I could be with Sonia, and I could go, sort of like, screw this, I don't want to be doing this. And I can go, oh, would you like some acknowledgement and care for the resistance, Sarah? And is there part of you that still wants to be here and feel more deeply into what this is like? So, but that then presupposes that we want to get to that endpoint. And that's a really important question. Nancy, how did I do in responding in a way that was helpful or made sense? Or do you have another piece you want to say?
Me settle and reduce my self-doubt, because I felt guilt about not giving that person what they needed.
Oh.
And I also think even sharing this, like, people now use words in different ways. For me, saying like asking what they need, and when they say empathy, I could have said, for me, empathy is reflective listening and guessing feelings and needs.
Yeah.
Is that what? And then they're
Yeah.
like, well, I want that warmth that Sarah Peyton teaches. I'll be like, it depends if like what the situation
Right,
is.
right.
Too
Yeah.
close to
Some
my
days, yes. Some days,
experience.
no. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Nancy. I very much appreciate your voice. And just to catch Nancy, if there's anybody who's like really grateful that Nancy asked this question, would you put hearts? Would you put a heart in your screen and let Nancy see? Nancy, are you able to see the hearts? Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Very much. Jen, hello.
Yeah, if anyone has joined since the demo, would you like to share what is going on in the breakout, Sarah, please?
Oh, yes, of course. Let me put the instructions in again. We're doing a welcome attunement, breakout activity. Oh, and Joanna had put it in too. Sorry, Joanna. Letting yourself be changed by and change another in welcome. You'll be attuning to, one of you will be attuning to the other, and you'll do both ways. You'll notice your own body sensations, and then you'll go to bringing your attention to your friend, and you'll let your body find the places where you welcome the other person, where your body softens or warms, or there's a sense of rising or gentling, and just speak about that part. If you go farther into any kind of physical tension or heaviness, don't go there. Just right back out to find the place of delight. And if you have terror, be warm with yourself and see whether you can kind of wait through the terror and get to a sense of delight that the other person exists, because each person is an incredibly different miracle. Every single, just like snowflakes, every single brain is completely irreplaceable and has its own pattern. Jen, are you more or less ready in this moment?
I am not. So probably 2 or 3 more minutes. I've got
Okay.
8 people to get in a spot. Yeah.
All right. And there are some more questions in the chat, and there's some hands up. Hello to Ann K.
Yeah, just is in the breakout, is it just silent the whole time and
No,
notice?
no. Remember how I talked with
I wasn't here. I'm sorry.
oh, you weren't here. Ah, okay.
Does A share? A shares a little bit?
Yeah, A shares verbally. Yeah, you
Okay.
can. Yeah, and A says first what. So I'm talking right now and thinking and so here I am. I have like tension in my back and a little bit of like sparkliness in my chest, and then I sink into you, Anne. Was that Anne? Your
Yes.
hand.
Yes.
So I sink into you. Just for a moment, I'm like letting you be the focus of my attention. And when I let you be the focus of my attention, I get these funny little tiny soft fireworks going down the middle of my belly from my heart down towards my xiphoid process and my belly button. And that's what happens for me when I welcome you. My body changes as I welcome you. I might be scared first. I might have to wait and then let my body welcome you. And then so I speak aloud just as I've been doing right now.
Are
And then
you A or B?
I'm A right now.
Okay.
And then I say to you, Anne, how was it that I shared with you how my body changed with your presence? And I really did have those little fireworks. How was it for you that my body changed with your presence, Anne?
I'm like, I don't know. Like, can she find me on the screen? And my hand went down, and
Out, wondering.
I was
Yeah,
kind of in my head,
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
was trying to figure out if you were A or B, because that's the part I didn't
Oh,
understand.
that's the part that's so yeah, it's so yeah. So A, that's the person who attunes. So that was me in this situation. Sarah was A and Anne was B.
Okay.
And then we would reverse and you would get to be A and I would be
Yeah,
B.
cool. Thanks.
Thank you, Anne. And I'm gonna go from I'm not gonna take Julie yet. I'm gonna take Beatrice first and then come back to Julie. Hello, Beatrice.
I thank you, Sarah. I I'm not quite sure if what I'm going to say is acceptable, but I feel strongly to say it. So I trust that I have a concern for Jane. It seems like Jane is totally. I just wonder if she needs any help, and I don't mean uh, I don't know. I'm just like, oh my God, she seems to have so much to deal with. Yeah.
Oh, would you like to hear from her?
Yeah, I would love to take a second maybe
Wait
two.
a sec.
Mhm.
Beatrice, is it okay for Jen to respond?
Yeah, yeah, I would actually.
Yeah,
Thank
go
you.
ahead, Jen. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Beatrice, because actually this is a little trick for me is to stop and attune and listen and be relational helps me be in my body and see how I am. And I'm really grateful I do have assistants doing everything but the spotlighting and the breakouts. And so I'm just trying to make sure everyone's getting that some things are changing as the questions are being answered. And it just really matters to me that people get to try this in a way that feels safe for them. So it makes me happy. And I'm so glad Sarah's patient with me. How's that to hear?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Um,
And yes, I'm
yeah,
thinking intensely. Yeah.
it really matters to me that in this gift that we are given, that each one of us is, you know, at ease and is really willing to be here, and that it's okay for their own system. And so I was checking, and I can see your face; it's lifting, and
Mhm.
so
Thank you.
thank you,
Thank
thank you.
you, because I was just like a little bit like just trying to make it all work so much and losing myself. So thank you,
I know.
Beatrice. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so
Jen.
just a couple more minutes there. It's almost together. Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you. Thank you very much, Jen. Hello to Julie.
Just trying to catch a question that was earlier at 35. Would you like me to read it for you?
Let's see. Not yet. Hang on to it for a second. Let me check with Jane Z. Jane Z, hello.
Hi, I have a question about the attunement exercise. When do you use this in real life? Like not with client work? Is it okay to ask that here since this is about,
Yeah, this is a great question.
okay,
Yeah, I use this um I invite myself, like I started out just using it when I wanted to do a resonance, and also with my son, who I was trying to really change my relationship with. And then it started to soften inside me and spread a lot, and spread to just like random people, to myself, like waking up in the morning and having a welcome attunement for myself, being with my animals and letting myself see them in this way. It's a different lens that that we get naturally through secure attachment if our parents are not stressed. And in this world, how many people have parents who were not stressed? Not very many of us. So it's like we get to we're reclaiming something really foundationally human, a capacity for um, to be delighted by the world, really. Jane, did this take us in the direction you were interested in?
Oh, so very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Olia, please.
Yeah, I also would like to ask a question about when you're doing attunement and it feels like worrying whether you do it right for yourself and for others. So what do you do in the, because that's actually this stress, this fear actually gets me
Oh,
personally away from
wonderful.
the attunement. And what would you recommend in this case, to go back to myself first and then to attunement, because I don't want to feel this loss of connection because of this fear that sometimes on the background
Oh,
uh,
so
about
beautiful.
being attuned.
A beautiful question. So the two big things that are happening with that fear are, first of all, an acknowledgement that we've been told that we're not good enough or that we don't do things right. So we get to say to ourselves, Sarah, would you like a little acknowledgement that you've spent a lot of time hearing about how you're not doing things right? And of course you're worried. Would you like some, at this point, I might say to myself, would you like some reassurance that actually you are neurobiologically made to attune? And there's, in some ways, the only way to stop it is by shutting ourselves down. And so if we've successfully shut ourselves down, we get to be appreciative of the insulation we've created, and we get to kind of peek out from behind it. So that's the first thing, is if we've been told that we don't do things right. The second thing is to acknowledge our love, that we really genuinely come to the world with a deep love and care for other people and a longing to do no harm. And so, of course, we have a trepidation or a fear, and we get to say, "Oh, Sarah, of course you get worried about whether or not, whether or not your love actually gets to shine through a little bit." And we may also have had old experiences of, for example, my mother did not believe that I loved her. So then it took quite a long time for me to begin to be able to peek out from behind the fear. So, whatever it is that you feel, in a way, see if you can peek out from behind it and acknowledge it as making a great deal of sense. Yeah. Well, yeah, how was this as a response?
Yeah, this was great. Actually, my body calmed down while listening, even so that resonated with me and really made my like, just the way I feel. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And then I want to say about Anna's question about the keystone. We're going to come back to this after the exercise. So Anna will talk about that keystone, the keystone of warmth. Um, and we'll come back to that. And Julie, was that the question that you had noticed that you were bringing my attention to?
You may have answered the question with James. It was a question from Pasha about the difference between in person and online.
Oh, yes, I already answered that one. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. Okay, Jen, what's happening now?
I am ready, Sarah.
Oh,
So,
what a wonder. Let's
yeah.
put people in for let's put people in for 8 minutes.
8 minutes total or 8 minutes each?
8 minutes total. 4
All
minutes.
right.
4
Yeah.
minutes.
So what was I gonna say? Yeah, it'll automatically move you back, and I'll send a reminder after 4 minutes. All right.
Wonderful.
Gonna
And
open
Deborah,
up.
breathing is fabulous.
Yeah.
Breathing does not play a role, but it's fabulous. If you like to breathe, breathe.
All right. I'm gonna open all rooms.
Welcome back. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. All right. And what sweetness. Now I'm coming to Janet. Hello, Janet.
Me?
You have a hand up? Did you want to speak?
I did, yes. There was a glitch in the communication so that I could not hear or speak to my partner.
Oh.
And what I noticed was how much, because I didn't know what was happening, how much anxiety and kind of heart, not pain, but just kind of a feeling of, I don't know, maybe light sorrow or something
Oh, yeah.
was
Wow.
coming up, even though I don't know this person, I don't know anything. It was like, wow, this is very powerful. Just because I can't hear them, I don't think they're hearing me. You know, when we kind of switched to the chat and started communicating, and I knew what was happening, I felt enormous relief. And I thought that triggered something really important for me to understand. So it wasn't the exercise intended, but it was, yeah, still it was very useful. And I just wondered if you had any comments about that or.
Yes, once we enter this territory, so you guys are all paying attention to me, which gives you this amazing leg up if you're not having to protect yourselves from it. An amazing leg up on like, oh, here's my right hemisphere. Here is the world of the nonverbal. Here's the world of emotions. Because our get it done hemisphere, the left hemisphere, doesn't have any of those neurons. It's like, okay, what's next? and so as we kind of slow down, as we're being invited to do, there's this entire world of emotional response that tells us so much. And you're here, and it may be something you're often with, but it's very sweet. That soft sadness is just so touching. I really thank you for mentioning it.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Janet. Hello, Natalia.
Hello, Sarah. And everyone. And for me, it was so interesting and touching as well to have a moment of having fun together that came out of in a natural way. And I know that sometimes I pretend to have fun, and how heavy is that and how stressful is that for the body. And I felt how easy and relaxing feels to have fun naturally.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
one.
That's amazing. Thank you, Natalia. Oh, and hello to Oya.
I decided to get this opportunity to communicate with you, Sarah. So while I'm here, because I really appreciate your work. Honestly, it's affected my life actually. And now I wanted to share that during the exercise that we were doing in breakout rooms and before with you, I was like in this view role somewhere. I was not sharing, but attuning to someone, and I felt like. For me, usually I put in the first priority, so that I'm the first one who attune and try to give resonance. But also I have this need to have resonance as well, but I'm not quite sure how to ask for it sometimes or have an initiative. So that feels that my feeling as worse as other person needs, because I don't know where the border is, where I should be should give and get, and so there is this balance. And so I wanted to hear your maybe point of view on the balance, how you can like a dance, how you can communicate like in this relationship with a dance, but you're giving and getting.
That comes later. We're just starting.
All
we're
right.
just putting our toes in. So today we'll just put
Okay.
our toes in, and then we'll go on from. I mean, if you come to classes and stuff, then then you'll get to do. We'll go farther into these questions. Thank you, Anya. Beatrice, hello.
Hi. Well, from the demo you made, I had the experience. I had to witness you sharing, taking a moment to acknowledge what was happening in you physically, and then taking the time of being with the other person, and then expressing the delight of this new presence. Somehow we didn't. The timing, and I suppose I would have benefited myself to have maybe a little message on the side to remind, time, for the buff, because it's quite a lot.
To keep track of.
So when the person didn't express any delights, I was like, oh, I know.
Well, just
and
in
she
this
also mentioned that you only mentioned the physical sensation, but I said no, I don't mention just physical sensation. I was also, I felt free. There was something beautiful. Anyway, I am practical, so visual. I'm also visual, so I would have liked a little model, but thank you.
We'll try and get you a halfway through note for folks for the next one. Thank you very much, Beatrice. And I feel some sadness that you did not get to experience be delighted. And so I attuned to you as you were speaking to find my delight in you. And it was a fun visual image. It was like one of those old typewriters, and it was typing delight, and it was just right here.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Hello to Caitlin.
Good morning, Sarah. I had an interesting experience in that I ended up in a breakout room by myself at first, until after the halfway mark. And it was super interesting because I decided to attune to myself. And I don't really look in a mirror very much. And here I am right in front of myself. It was fascinating. And I have my glasses on, which is like close up. And I'm about to turn over a decade. So I'm in a very contemplative place. And I've been so altered by the Broken Mother Field course with you, which has changed my relationships profoundly within my family, in particular with my sisters. And it's been very, very interesting. So the attunement to self was very profound and interesting, particularly right now at this juncture in my life where so much is changing. And I was delighted, actually, to have that experience. I know. And there was no abandonment that came up, which was quite astounding, because I would have had fear of missing out and abandonment. And so that was really a big piece for me to learn what shifted. And then all of a sudden, somebody popped up in the screen. And it was like this incredible delight to connect with somebody. And that was in and of itself also quite a shift for me, because I would normally have had a little bit of, oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. But I didn't have to do any of that. It was just like suddenly there was this beautiful being and this warmth and this delight showed up. And we didn't have very long, but it was very potent and very powerful. And so I just wanted to share that and to also to really personally thank you for your work.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Caitlin. Yeah, thank you. And Olga, I didn't get to say thank you to you for enjoying my work too. Thank you very much. Very happy about that. And Lisa, hello. And after we talk with Lisa, we'll go back to the slides and talk about that keystone of warmth. Lisa, please.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, everybody. I'm still in a major delight that I accidentally landed in this 3-hour thing today. I accidentally got an email and signed up for it, and I'm like, wow, here I am.
Fun.
So then when I was being attuned, when I was the attunee, when I was being attuned to, I just started weeping with being so moved. I was curious, was that exercise, were we supposed to be doing, and it doesn't matter if it was however I interpreted it or however it happened, I'm fine with. But was it more to be connecting on a lighter level than when we came back in? I was like, oh, I went to full deep on. Go ahead, love me, attune to me. I'm connecting, I'm attuning. And I think part of my practice is I've done so much work to unguard and undefend that sometimes I attune deeply, and my own nervous system is so impacted that it takes me a lot of time to recover. And I know that's a whole big thing that to share, but that's just what came up for me.
Oh, well, it sounds like you were touched, and the beauty of being attuned to was quite something. And it touched your heart. Yeah, it seems quite. And this is part of that first exercise. What is it like to have somebody else attuned to you? Yeah, yeah. We get to have whatever response we have. Sometimes it's tears. Sometimes it's delight, sometimes it's skepticism. There's so many possibilities. How is this response, Lisa? Does it feel like I missed something in what you were saying, or did I come from?
Oh, no, thank you. It was just nice to connect with you one-on-one too.
Oh, good. Wonderful. All right. Oh, so let's come back to the slides now. The warmth of the welcome attunement is indispensable for resonance. It is the keystone that keeps the entire structure of resonance from collapsing. What we're starting to touch here is the movement between the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, the part of the brain that has our to-do lists and doesn't have relational neurons, and the part of our brain that has these deeply relational neurons that touch into the nonverbal so very easily. Someone just in passing mentioned the broken mother field class. And for those of you who haven't run into the broken mother field concept yet, it means that we have the capacity, the broken field concept means that we have the capacity to carry within us the negative ways that others have seen us. And that it is a part of this nonverbal, very energetically dense field that we enter when we start to become aware of the way that we touch and change one another, the way that we can be touched and changed by one another, the way that it's always happening, how much we are a part of one another, even though we live with such a strong illusion of separation and often the need for separation in order to survive infancy. So the way that warmth is important is that it allows us to know that we have not fallen out of the world of dense energetic responsiveness to one another in real time, and instead have allowed our bodies to be taken over by either our own defenses or by the broken fields that other people carry. So being able to maintain a sense of warmth to notice whether or not we continue to feel warmth for someone tells us whether or not we're staying in social engagement, or whether we are starting to slip away into the instrumental transactional world of judgment and condemnation and contempt and so on. So our warmth, this capacity to begin to notice our delight and to use it as almost like a tuning. I have for my cello, I have a tuning machine. Get a tuner. You turn it on and it tells you whether or not your voice is, or your cello is, in the green or in the red. The warmth tells you that you're in the green, that you're in a resonant space. And when we slip into judgment, we're slipping out of tune. Do you see it? It goes to the red, or it goes to the red. So we don't have a tuner that says that we can watch when, like I do when I'm playing the cello, even though my teacher says, stop watching the tuners. Stop watching the tuner and listen. But we don't have that for our relational space of connection. And so as we begin to notice that warmth is telling us that we're in the green, then we become more and more able to be in a resonant space. And this is part of our rigor, is noticing whether or not we're in the green. Let me see whether we got to answer the questions about that. Oh, let's see. I don't know. It's been too far back in the chat. I don't remember who had asked that question, but please let me know whether that was helpful. Let me actually do a visual survey and see whether I conveyed did that make sense? Give me a kind of give me the thumbs showing me, or you can nod if you, yeah. Okay, mostly looks like it made sense. All right, good. Okay. Sarah Beebe asks this wonderful question. Is the felt sense of attunement shifting us out of the default mode network and into another, perhaps the defocusing network? To what extent is attunement connected to the default mode network? I'm asking myself. The default mode network is full brain. It includes the left and the right hemispheres. There are different ways that we use the default mode network depending on what nervous state we are in. So rather than this telling us that we've shifted out of the default mode network, it tells us that we've shifted out of social engagement and back into a slight state of flight, alarmed aloneness, a slight state of sympathetic activation, which is where most of us live most of the time. So it takes some effort to get us into social engagement. And then Susan says, when we are out of attunement with someone, what do we say to connect? Or do we just notice? How do we reconnect to ourselves? We notice that we do this same process that we were just practicing. We notice our own body, and then we bring our attention to the other, and then we notice what happens when we bring our attention to the other. So it's a part of our rigor is the tracking of where our attention is going, and the gradual kind of building of, it's like doing push-ups. I can't actually do push-ups. I can do those half push-ups. So it's like doing half push-ups to allow ourselves to come to into a place of being focused and letting that focus change us. So we've been learning our basic skills already. It's so important. It seems so simple, and it's so important. And Lisa says, is fawning part of sympathetic activation? Fawning is this state where we mobilize our social engagement in order to save ourselves from danger. So it's half, the scientists say it's kind of half social engagement, half sympathetic activation. It's a complex state. And Karen says, does alarmed aloneness correlate to freeze, or are they different states? So alarmed aloneness is alarmed aloneness is in the fight flight. Alarmed aloneness, it's in sympathetic activation, but we can also freeze, and then everything can be frozen. Alarmed aloneness can turn into a freeze. Rage can turn into a freeze. Fear can turn into a freeze. Disgust can turn into a freeze. Love can turn into a freeze. All of the emotional circuits can become frozen, Karen. Yeah. Okay. We'll come back to our slides. When we make another person the focus of our attention, our brain starts to reproduce their brain. If we wait a little longer, the sensations in our torso start to change, and we begin to synchronize more with the other person. We start to attune with them, and our bodies respond to their bodies. The elements of attunement in relational space include eye contact, facial expression, tone of voice, posture, gesture, rhythm, timing, intensity, weight, and distance. It's like we are inviting ourselves to tune in to the other person. And then, yikes, sound of screeching brakes. When we are baby, we are physiologically made to actually kind of travel with the people who are around us. We're physiologically made for contagion if we have never received resonance. To feel with close others. They are angry, so we feel anger. They are sad, so we become sad. This is called contagion. Contagion is different from attunement, because in contagion, we're being taken over by an emotional state. In attunement, we're sampling an emotional state. Contagion is choiceless, being pulled into the water of emotion without our consent. In attunement, our choicefulness and consent differentiate contagion, where we're pulled into feeling the same emotions someone close to us is feeling, from attunement, where we choose to make someone else the center of our attention and notice how that changes our body sensations. So if contagion naturally exists, is it scary or dangerous to open up to others like this? When we were little babies or small children, and we were dependent on others' emotional states for our safety and well-being, and we didn't have choice about what our nervous systems were doing because we merge automatically when we're babies, if the people around us were having a difficult time, it might have been scary, yes. Now that we're grown, we are not dependent on others in the same way. Now we have choice, and we can tune in by bestowing our attention and tune out again by paying attention to ourselves again. If we don't feel like we have choice about tuning in and tuning out, we may have a contract that makes us put our nervous system at the service of others. And if this feels very true to you, then you can respect your own no and not do the attunement breakouts, or you can put a 1 before your name and watch other people do it, or you can begin to think about, you can take some time and begin to journal about what kind of promises you might have made to yourself. What kind of promises you might have made for yourself as a baby, to somehow find a way to survive in a world where people were angry or depressed or afraid. So we get to think and wonder and feel and be with ourselves with a lot of warmth and compassion. Now I'm going to do the next level of attunement. And Olya, are you available to be my buddy on this next one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So thank you so much. So then we'll get, can you see Olya, Jen, to do the spotlight? Or do you need her to raise her Zoom hand?
Zoom. Okay, yes, Joanna's helping me out. Thank you, Joanna.
Oh, thank you, Joanna. Okay. So you'll most likely be in a breakout with the same person, but not absolutely. Okay. And there we are. So we'll put these instructions into the chat so that you can follow along. There they are. Okay. So again, I'll be A to start. So my first thing is I get to ask Olya to choose a worry or concern that is alive enough for you that your body changes when you think about it. And think about the issue and notice your body sensations, and without talking about them, just tell me when you've got your issue and you can feel what it feels like. You got it? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll be attuning to Olya. I find my own body sensations within my torso. I can talk about them or just notice them. And sometimes it's easier to find your facial expression sensations than it is to find your chest and your belly. So I feel like just trying to focus and think about timing, and that we need a little bio break as well as a breakout. So I've got tension in my jaw and kind of a little bit breathless. So then I bring my attention to Olya, and I have the welcome attunement. See, this is a funny place where you can get stuck, right? If you're stuck in delight, then you don't give a resonance response to your friend. Your breakout room buddy is having a difficult experience, and you're experiencing delight. So you wait longer. You remain connected to your and oh, here comes this change in sensation. So only the change now, and I know that I'm attuning at this second level. If my body sensations become heavy or constricted or blocked or tight. And so what I feel as I attune more deeply is I get a catch in my throat, and it feels like my chest is a balloon that's been blown up inside out. And I have like kind of a cold pain going down like icicles into my belly, toward my belly button. And Olya, what is it like to have somebody attuned to you in this experience of thinking about a difficult issue?
Some sensations feel more vivid, and especially when I hear the sensation that matches, that gives some I don't know, some understanding, so that the other person. And for me, like my jaw was tight, and like it's the first reaction that my face started started to be really tight, and when I heard some similar, so it started to relax. That's the face, but the other thing, so it felt like my body was vivid, so I noticed better my body.
Thank you. So, and like I had told you before, when I did that little demo with the assistant with Sonia, about 40% of the time there's some concordance between my sensations and the person I'm attuning to, and about 60% of the time there's not really any match. But there's something incredibly sweet you'll discover about somebody bringing their body to listening to you. Even if their body sensations are not the same at all, their body's in the game, you're getting this message, oh, I really am the focus of my person's attention. There actually is somebody with me. And then, of course, if we were in the breakout, we would reverse. And then Ola would attune to me, and I would notice what it was like to have somebody's body be changed in their listening to me. Now, I'm not being changed forever by Olya. I'm touching into being with her, and I'm getting to sample it. It's like getting to go into somebody's house and remembering what it's like to be there. you aren't changed by being in somebody else's house. You're still yourself. But you get to be with them for a little minute. And then you come back to yourself and you'll notice that the final instruction for A says, let B go as the focus of your attention and bring your attention back to yourself. And yes. And then we rotate. Oh yeah, thank you. And needs met. Let's get just a couple needs met, 3 or 4 needs met for Olya for bringing herself in her vulnerability into this circle. I'll just give it a moment for people to put in their needs met and gifts received, Olya. And I had needs met for commitment and dedication. And Carrie writes, openness and courage and clarity. Thank you. And Lisa says, needs met to witness vulnerability or authenticity. And Lori says, needs met for vulnerability, curiosity, courage. And Darota says, oh, she disappeared. I'll read Darota's and then, well, come back. Admiration that such a young person is accessing this work and a way of being in the world. Thank you, Olya. Anything else you'd like to say before we transition?
Just want to express gratefulness for you and for this attunement. It was precious. I really felt the attunement.
Oh, thank you.
It's amazing to you.
And now I'll take a quick look at some slide. I'll let Olya read other ones that people have put in the chat, other needs met. And then LaFay writes, are energetic boundaries a foundational piece of learning resonance? And is this a similar thing you're referring to when you speak of contracts? Thank you. The contracts are unconscious ways that we make decisions to protect ourselves. And we can learn to release them. That's not part of this class, but it's part of most of the other classes that we do. And energetic boundaries are, it's so interesting, such a beautiful question. Are energetic boundaries a foundational piece of learning resonance? Energetic boundaries are a delightful outcome of beginning to learn about resonance and practice resonance and work with the contracts. So we get to learn that we are different from others, even though our baby selves are still in a state of communion with everyone. And we get to begin to have this kind of authentic differentiation that arises from the work more and more and more clearly. And it's both an authentic differentiation and an authentic capacity to join. So it becomes more and more complex and integrated. Daniel Siegel says integration is differentiation plus linkage, where the ways that we are together and the ways that we are separate. LaFay, how did I do? Would you like to come off mute and respond? She might.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How wonderful.
Can you hear me now?
Voice. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm crying, so thank you. So you touched something in your response. And yes, it did make a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense for me, what you're saying. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, LaFay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the
Yeah, thanks for holding the space.
Yeah, pleasure. And then Sarah Yee asked, are infants and small children subject to contagion of the caregiver's emotions? Yes, and that's how we learn to try to insulate ourselves or shut down to try to manage the overwhelm of other people not having, the grown-ups in our world not having the support that they need. Yeah. Okay, now Rebecca, when we come back, we'll talk about the difference between empathy and resonance. And what I'd like to put you into a breakout and include a little time for a bio break. So Jen, are you ready to put people into the breakout?
Just about. I just need to hear back from one assistant, and then I will know what to do.
Assistants, please check your chats. And all.
Yeah, I'm good, Sarah.
Okay, wonderful. So let's do and we put Joanna has put the instructions back into the chat. And what we'll do is we'll go in for we'll do 20 minutes, and you can so there, and so we're not actually going to send a time that's a number of minutes have gone by time. You'll be tracking time on your own on this one, simply because we're putting time in for the bio break, and you may decide to go right at the beginning and then come back and do your exercise, or you may decide to do your exercise and then have your bio break. So everyone will be different, but we'll go for 20 minutes and we'll be back at the top of the hour.
All right, so I'm just going to 20 minutes and gonna open all rooms.
And did we get Carol? Did somebody get a equal sign in front of Carol's name? So
maybe not.
Hello. I just had a question. So while we were doing, oops, where's my, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
While we were doing our exercise, I thought of a problem, and my partner Deborah, she was able to feel the feelings that I would normally feel, but I didn't feel them at the time. And I thought that was so,
What?
yeah.
Was
Like
any,
yeah.
was it any kind of relief to not have to feel them yourself and let somebody else feel them?
Yes, yes, it was. But I just thought, that's strange. I said to her, normally I would feel those, but I don't actually feel it right now, and I'm not sure why. Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured that I thought of the problem, but I held it only as a thought, and I didn't embody it, perhaps. But she picked up on the sensations.
Yeah, yeah. Very interesting, isn't it? It makes sense that we do that, I mean, it can be such a relief to have somebody else feel things instead of us having to feel them.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Zelik says goodbye. Goodbye to Zelik, who's gone. Yeah. Oh, Jeannie, we ended up with you being alone in room 27. Oh no, you came back. You came back, I think. Maybe we got you. Okay. Ron says, we've got a message from Ron Debrito to Yesenia. So go ahead and take a look, Yesenia, at the chat. Hello to Deborah. Let's get you off mute so I can hear you. I'm very interested in what you're saying.
Sorry. I have a quick question. Can you do this resonant work with like pictures of your inner child? Like I have pictures of my little self.
Of course.
You do it with a picture.
Yeah, and then you can imagine yourself into the picture and see what it's like to be resonated with. To have an adult being focused on you.
Yes.
Yes, what a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to do that.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hello to Evie.
Hello. You can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great. I wanted to ask about the contagion that you mentioned, and like, is there a contagion that is kind of in a healthy sphere that I see someone laughing and I immediately feel lifted up, or I see someone crying and I take up, and how to work with this healthy range of it and non-healthy.
Well, if it feels healthy, then you're fine. And if it doesn't feel good, then there's probably a contract. And the contract And Pooja, this is for you as well. I notice your note in the chat about how do I come back to my own experience. Look for a promise that you made yourself. I, Sarah, solemnly swear to my. Could somebody mute Evie just while I'm typing this out, and we can unmute her again. Thank you. I, Sarah, solemnly swear to my essential self. Is the first part. And then the second part is, what do you swear to do to carry my mother's pain? And then the next part is the in order to keep her from being alone. No matter the cost to myself. That's the form that you want to start to wonder about. And then you get to say, do I want to keep this contract? And our mothers might be dead, or we may no longer be living in the same house with them, or they may have had a successful and lovely second marriage, or, you know, it may no longer be the most important contract. And then we can, I release myself from this contract. And I give myself the blessing to know that it is not my job to carry others' pain. So that's the general direction that people work in with this kind of experience. And is your name Evie or Evie? And I'll bring you off mute now. Yeah.
Evie.
Evie. Evie, what happens with your with your question now? Where do you go?
Yeah, I'm wondering if this contract, like with the mother, could be the one that is affecting all other like relationships, or
Yes, generally. Mother or father or grandmother, whoever was really important. Who was the most important person when you were a baby?
Well, both, but my father was absent for work reasons a lot, so yeah.
Yeah. So then take a look, just see if it feels true. You have the form now, and you can experiment with changing the words to see what feels true. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Evie. All right. We'll come back to the slides now. And we have about 20 minutes more together focused on these and on questions like this. And then we'll go to the questions about the Resonant Healing Practitioner program. So what is resonance? Feeling into something that someone else is experiencing with them, being moved by a sense of their emotions and energy, and asking verbally or non-verbally whether what we're perceiving has any relationship with what they're feeling. And this process bringing both people into more connection and understanding with each other. Oh, I didn't open my slide all the way. There we go. And this brings us back to Rebecca's question, which she asked at 9:37 about empathy versus resonance. And empathy is something, if you're talking about nonviolent communication empathy, it is specifically allowing ourselves to begin to wonder about somebody else's feelings and needs. It's such a gorgeous wondering. And we can do silent empathy. We don't even have to ask the other person. If we ask the other person, so empathy is a subset of resonance, or rather a Venn diagram, I guess, not a subset, but a Venn diagram. Because in empathy, we don't necessarily have to ask somebody else, do I understand you? But in resonance, we do. We can ask physically, or we can ask verbally with a question mark. So how can we tell if resonance is happening? Our body's sensations change in response to someone else getting us. let's do this with facial expressions. This will be our last breakout for today, but it goes very quickly. It's a quick one. So I'll do this with an assistant really quickly. And Laura, you want to be my resonant buddy for Laura Furukawa for a quick, can you put your Zoom hand up? Okay, and so we'll put us on, we'll get us spotlit here. Yes. And we'll follow our instructions, and we'll do this with a little bit of lightning fastness. So, so think of a confusing moment from last week. Notice how your body responds and tell me your body sensations.
My heart is beating quickly. There's like a fuzzy kind of feeling in front of my face.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So now I get to attune to Laura in her confusion. I get to let myself be changed by her presence. So I have a very quick something sweet opening in my throat with the delayed attunement, and then as I settle in a little further, it's almost like a wooden block right here. So tell me, what was the confusing moment of last week? And be specific. Begin with the words, it was the moment when, and hold your fingers up and do 3 sentences.
Was the moment when we were trying to figure out how my mother-in-law was going to get home from the hospital, and no one else in my family was sharing very much information, and I just didn't know where to go and what to do.
So did it feel anything like this? And
yes.
And Laura says, yes, that's true. Or she says, it felt more like this. So do your own facial expression, and I'll do so. Say, yeah, say it felt more like this, and then do yours, and I'll do the next one.
It felt also like this, like
so more like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And then we would reverse. So we got to resonance when Laura said yes. When Laura said yes, and tell me, Laura, now what happens with your body sensations?
Yeah, my heart is slower, and I can feel more my seat. I feel more settled in where I'm sitting.
The fuzziness that you mentioned?
The fuzziness is gone. I forgot about it, actually.
Oh, good. That's very good. So can the assistant who's helping get the instructions into the chat add, and the second to the last point before the rotation, check B's body sensations again. I forgot to put that in the instructions. Thank you, Laura. Such a pleasure to do this with you. And now we'll pop everybody in for, I'm just trying to find the chat, but my brain is starting to melt down here. There we go. Yeah.
And just check, I forgot to click the little editing thing, so the instructions are not quite fixed yet, Sarah.
They will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll just fix those, and then we'll pop you in for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, yes, 10 minutes. And then we'll have 5 minutes for some questions and stuff, and then we'll transition to the questions about the RHP program. Great.
Okay, I tried to accommodate the changes into the breakouts. So you may be with the same people, or you may be not. So please don't be surprised. And I'm opening the rooms right now. Is it okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Joanna, did you deliberately put me into a breakout room?
No.
Okay, there we are. How many people got to have a little bit of change in their body sensations from a facial expression? Just wave at me if you got to have a little bit of change. Oh, good. Good. People got to have a little change. Isn't it amazing? I just think we are miraculously made. We are so miraculously made. We have 3 minutes for questions, And Dorothy, did you raise your hand with a question or did you raise your hand? Oh, no. Okay. Just to tell us it changed a little. Christine, did you have a question or did you raise your hand just to tell me that it changed?
Sorry. Yeah, I just raised my hand to say there was a show. Thank you.
Yeah. And hello to Tarja.
Thanks. I am wanting to just state out loud how grateful I am to be on this in this experience on this Zoom, like from the universe. I'm like, thank you, because it's meaningful to me to get the experience and feel the resonance through these exercises. It's just something that's being very potent, and I'm just grateful. So I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tarja. So now people are heading out that need to go. And Deborah, goodbye. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to everyone who's heading out. And now we'll do an official transition to hearing from Lori and also a bit from Maya about the Resonant Healing Practitioner program. Oh, I'm supposed to tell you what classes are coming up. I'll take a moment to do that and then we'll let Lori have a moment to talk to us. Oh, I got distracted in the beginning. I was supposed to create slides. Huh, and I didn't do it. All right, I'll open the website and talk to you about these things that are coming up. Coming events. Okay, I'll stop the share and then share again. Share. Oh, it's having trouble loading. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay. Here we go. All right, here we are in our free class, The Art and Craft of Rigor and Resonance, starting on September 29 in 2 days, finding our easy no, boundaries and attachment. We're also moving into the CMDC online intensive training starting October 17th, where I'm part of the faculty of an NVC online VIT, which fulfills the requirements for people's IITs if you need to be able to do that and still stay home. So that's available on my website. Those of you who love constellations will be doing adoption, step parents, and nurses on October 20 at 9 a.m. And then also starting October 20, we have healing intergenerational trauma with NVC through the NVC Academy. You can see that little NVC Academy thing there. And then on October 22, we start working with how to disrupt our inner critic and bring love to our inner critic and change our lives. We've got Resonance for Dementia and Dementia Caregivers coming up on October 28 and October 31, Mystery and Awe in Constellations, a full day. So there are cool things happening. And now we're going to turn over to learning about the Resonant Healing Practitioner program. And hello to Lori Delaney.
Hello. Sorry, I have a little frog in my throat today. So should I go ahead and share slides, Sarah? Yeah. And let me get it on presenter view. Shoot. Next slide. View. Slideshow. There it is. There we go. So welcome to Practitioner of Resonant Healing Certification Program. So for an overview, during the Resonant Healing Practitioner Program, you will learn how to do resonant healing sessions with clients, support effective, deep, and sustained healing and brain change for yourselves, your clients, and your empathy buddies. So there are a lot of opportunities after certification that include working with people individually in sessions, or you can make this a part of your current practice if you're currently seeing clients as a coach or a therapist. You can assist in Sarah's classes, and you can also support the next group of people that are going through the Resonant Healing Practitioner program as a journey person. someone who walks with them with a little bit of experience. And Sarah, do you want to do the slides with me?
Sure.
Okay. Maybe after these, huh? Should I go through the prerequisites or?
Yeah, are the ones with the asterisks the ones I'm supposed to say?
I think it's the reverse. I think I did your slide.
Okay, you go ahead and do this one and then give them to me after that. Yeah.
Okay. So our applications open June 1st and they're open until November 30th. So there's still plenty of time. And the sooner that you apply, the better. The prerequisites that you will need would be to submit an application form. So you can just write to the help desk and we can give you that link. You'll need 100 hours of training with Sarah or other certified resident teachers. You'll need 30 or 9 or 12 hours of introduction to NVC if it's taught by somebody who's also doing resonance. This Rigor class counts, and you can also do it online. 3 paid resonant healing sessions with certified resonant practitioners. Step 2 would be an interview just to make sure that we're on the same page and set everybody up for success. And the 3rd step is an orientation workshop that starts on January 3rd. So to do the 100 training hours, you'll need up to 25 hours of resonance practice hours. That's included in those 100 hours. 50 hours would be live learning with Sarah. And then 25 hours could also be self-study. And that would be recorded journal entries from having attended, say, the neuroscience webinars that Sarah does or a foundations course online. So 33 of the hours can be constellation work with Sarah or other resonant healing practitioners. And then it's required that one of the courses be a foundational resonant healing course like the 101, 102, 103, or 104 classes. So before you apply, you'll want to get those 9 hours of NVC training with Sarah or 30 hours with another NVC training practitioner, certified trainer. And then there's also a couple opportunities for 9 to 12 hours coming up with Peggy Smith or Leah Boyd, Asha Berendt, Pernilla Plantiner, Magdalena Kosinska-Klein, Paulina, and Sarah has her course through the NVC Academy and starting in October. So all of those would meet the NVC requirement. And then to receive the 3 hours of resonant healing with a certified practitioner, you can go to Sarah's website and look at the listing of resonant healing practitioners to request time with one of those. And we already mentioned that you'll be able to assist in Sarah's classes and in the next cohort on a monthly basis. So the prerequisite courses that are available now would be the Healing Intergenerational Trauma with NVC, Reaching Our Ancestors. That's 9 hours with Sarah, October 20th to November 24th on Mondays, and it's through the NVC Academy. There's also a level 1 NVC Foundations training that's taught by Leah Boyd, and that's 10 hours that starts October 4th. Module 0, Introduction to NVC, is a 3-day workshop with Magdalena and Becky Dale. That's offered November 14th, and it's 3 days from 9 to 3. And then also the NVC online intensive training through CNVC that Sarah is involved in is the Nonviolent Communication Rooted in Ancient, the word is blocked, Wisdom and Modern Science. So that's 9 days online over 3 weekends, and it starts October 17th. So all of those count towards those hours. Maybe you want to just take over on the commitment.
I'm happy to. Thank you, Lori. So here we are. Be prepared for the full-time commitment of the year. There's a lot of hours that go into this. It can be done around a full-time job, and it's also going to take a lot of your energy and focus. There are 21 days. You'd have to get time off from work for all the retreat days. There's 21 total days of retreat over the year. There's additional process work sessions with me. Those are usually on Saturday or Sunday mornings Pacific time. Weekly practice group meetings of 2 to 3 hours. That's to be arranged with your practice group in terms of timing. Monthly community calls with Lori and Gayatri. And if you're in the Polish cohort with Maya of 90 minutes. Allowing 20 to 30 hours a month for personal journaling, self-studying, extra sessions, and scheduled retreat times. and access to a stable internet connection and a commitment to engage fully in the online trainings in Zoom, having your camera on and participating in breakout rooms. Okay, next. And Maya, do you want to speak about this?
Yes, so I can share that because I receive lots of questions from Polish people when they are on annual programs and so on, and they ask, oh, how to do the certification if we don't speak English, or we speak English, but it is too difficult for us to really practice in English. So already for a long time, I'm like thinking what to do, and I am exploring that possibility. It's not like for 100% it's going to happen in January, but it's very likely because there are many people interested. So I want what that would mean for people. It would mean that they would participate in the regular program, at least partially. So the commitments that we just described are the same or even more, because it means that there will be the extra time in our Polish mornings when we will be going through all the exercises, all the material that was not covered because people went to bed, let's say earlier, in Polish. We are exploring the options how to proceed with the translation, that it is available for people. And it would mean that all practicing, but also writing any things that are required for certifications would be available in Polish. Yeah, and that so that barrier of language, but also the barrier potentially of financial difficulty can be met. I'm exploring those options, and the next week on Saturday we will have the meeting, October 4th at 5 p.m. CET, for those who are interested, so that we go through the Rigor class together, but also we go through what I envisage with the help of other people and other assistants as potential option for Polish speakers who really love that work that Sarah offers, but English is too difficult for them.
Thank you so much, Maya. We have a wonderful question from Patrick in the chat. And Patrick, this is a wonderful question, and we would just to figure it out, what you wanted to do, what you needed, what would really help you. So so that would be an individual arrangement that we would make with Maya and you and us for you to be able to do what most serves you. Yeah.
And I will put the email address into the chat, including also the link to the form for those interested.
Wonderful.
Is that okay, Sarah?
It's so wonderful. Thank you.
There it is.
Sorry. Yeah, I just had a little note for everyone in the chat. So we've got this wonderful alternative for Polish speakers, and then we also have an alternative makeup session for participants from India, Asia, maybe Australia, New Zealand, that Gayatri will be leading. So far we haven't gotten any signups for the India-Asia cohort. So if that's something you're interested in, please write to help@sarahpeyton.com so that we can maybe collect some folks who are interested. Next slide. So you want to do this one, or you want me to do it?
I can do this one, and then you can talk about the class that's coming up.
Okay.
So requirements for certification, live attendance and engagement there'll be 4 modules, each one separately over 3 to 4 day weekends, even 5-day weekends.
So once you get into the program, this is what's going to happen that you'll need to do. And I talked about this a little bit in terms of the time commitment, but now Lori's giving us the details.
So you'll also log 58 practice hours while you're in the program, both receiving and providing resonant empathy. You'll Journal according to provided recommendations at least once per week during the certification course period. You'll practice in groups of 4 on a weekly basis, and it's very structured of practicing, providing and receiving, and also tracking in your groups. You'll submit monthly written assignments between modules as requested, and there'll be a total of 10 written assignments are likely to be assigned for feedback from Sarah or the co-directors, or maybe some seasoned journey people. So you'll complete and submit additional assignments as they arise during the curriculum. You'll also submit a full session transcript for review, and integrate the feedback given by Sarah or the people that are reviewing the transcripts. And you might be asked to submit additional transcripts just for further learning. So you can attend and watch this process work sessions with Sarah that are offered part of this training. It's a wonderful opportunity to witness Sarah doing process work and learning from that experience, both receiving if you're chosen through lottery or watching her provide resonance. You'll attend and engage in the monthly neuroscience and resonance webinars, which are so important for keeping us current and up to date with the latest research. And receive 50-minute process work sessions from a previous graduate of the program during the course. And this will focus on time travels and unconscious contract work. And so journey people are the people likely to provide these sessions, and it's likely to be once a month.
And on January 3rd, now I put in the chat that you can apply to the program with your plan for meeting the entry requirements attached to your application. So that you can go, oh, okay, here. And if you have any trouble figuring out how many hours stuff is, just write to us at help@sarahpeyton.com and we'll give you the hours. And so you can actually even be completing you can be in a class where you'll complete your 75 class hours, and still be working on completing them and enter the program. We want to make it possible for people to join even now, because it's such a beautiful program. So the orientation session is on January 3rd, where you'll get to be welcomed by Lori and Gayatri, who are our co-directors. You'll meet your cohort, and you'll get some tips and ideas from previous participants to smooth your journey and get to know each other before the program starts. There's then a decolonization 2-day session on January 10th and 11th. And this is a mandatory preparatory class to explore the human brain's tendencies to take shortcuts by making generalizations. And in particular, what we'll be learning in this class is the way in which our protests against the idea that there are systemic inequalities are really terribly painful for people who are trying to receive resonance. It's incredibly important to learn what our own protests are and the ways that we say, oh, but this might be true for everyone, but please, you must know that it's not true for me. This kind of response, which is so natural and so important for the human brain, to be seen for our intentions, to be known for our love, is not a helpful response, unfortunately, for people who are trying to get resonance from us. So there is an important element of this program, which is about being able to stay in resonance, even if somebody is talking about a group that we belong to and how painful is the experience that they have received from that group. So it's really important and it's mandatory. Next slide. Module 1 starts January 28th. Woohoo! We'll be learning the resonant processes. I won't go through them all right now. Module 2. Oh, and then there's a section on giving and receiving feedback on February 8th. And then there's Module 2, May 13 to 17. Next slide. Modules 3 and 4, October 7 to 11, and January 8 to 10. And all learning sessions are on Zoom. Thanks, Julie. And next slide, the program benefits. engagement in a year-long immersive training focused on guiding compassionate and effective processes of resonant healing, your own personal transformation, your preparation to be able to support others, and building a strong foundation for healthy relationships through understanding attachment styles. Next slide. Developing your capacities and skillfulness as a space holder, developing an understanding of how trauma affects the nervous system, and learning to read systems, become aware of spontaneous processes, and navigating yourself and your relationships even when emotions are high. Next. And practical marketable skills that flow from a working knowledge of the brain and nervous system, long-term connection with an active professional network of international resonant healing colleagues, and opportunities to be on my website in the Resonant Healing Practitioner directory for client referrals and other opportunities. Okay, do you want to do the investment, Lori?
Sure. So the early bird rates are effective until October 15th, so you still have time for that. Partial scholarships applications, just let us know if that's something that you'll be needing, and we'd be happy to forward an application form so that we can be in dialogue with you about that. And then we're hoping that all payment plans would be completed by May 31st. And basically there's 3 levels that we're looking at for the investment of the program. The seed tier, the early bird rate is $3,199 for the early bird rate. And that's for people who are experiencing some financial hardship, lower currency values in the global south, or enduring impacts of systemic injustice, and would include partial scholarships if needed. The Bloom tier is for $7,499 in the early bird pricing point. Those are for people that are more from the global north, who have access to more resources financially, and it reflects the true cost of the program. There's also a pollinator tier, and that begins at a level of $9,500. And it's for those who really value Sarah's work and really want to make sure that it gets out in the world and see the world as a place of abundance and can help us nourish the garden, sustain our scholarship program fund, and help this work reach further. So we have all those levels.
So
Go ahead.
Next steps on your journey: sign up for the live courses, enroll in self-study. And if you please apply if you have completed at least 25% of your prerequisites, or if you have a plan in place. And then the next
Let me go back.
Prerequisites need to be fully under their belt at November 30, but we can extend that for people today who have been here and or who are watching the recording. Yeah. And then this is a path to the cohort. We won't go through this now because I want to have time for questions. And here's a help at sarahpeyton.com, and there's the funny little black and white square that I can't remember what it's called, that you take a picture of with your cell phone camera, and it takes you to the website. So there we are. Thank you very much, Lori, for doing this. We're just for people's questions and wonderings and what ifs and what the heck are you talking about? And thank you all for being here, and thank you for your interest, and thank you for listening.
Sarah, I just want to quick let people know that there's a brain spa on November 13th through November 16th, 9 to 3. So it's an easy way to accumulate quite a few hours in a great course. So
thank you very much, Lori. Okay, and Amanda, hi, you have a hand up.
Hello. I will be traveling out of the country during the decolonization session, and you definitely don't have to impress upon me how important that is and why it would be mandatory. But I'm wondering, I think it will actually be late at night at the country that I'll be in. And I don't know, I will have just arrived, so I think my timing, I just feel like it's unlikely that I'll be necessarily alert and and being at my best at that. And I'm wondering if there's like another one that
There's not another one, but you could talk with Gloria and Guthrie and create a plan to work with somebody else and go through the exercises and write about them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's like an alternative if I might be able to make it. It might work out. I might be right on my Pacific time and it works out, but I just thought if I've accidentally slept through the whole thing or something.
It would be wonderful if you could be there for at least part of the days and then write about the rest of them, for example. So that would be something that you could work out with Gloria and Guthrie. Yeah. Thank you, Amanda, for that question. And thank you for sharing the sense of the importance of that. Yeah, great. And Moira says, could you say more about the dementia course? The dementia course is a short 1.5 hour neuroscience and resonance course that's all about it's all about what dementia does to the brain, and then what kind of resonance we need if we're caregivers and what kind of resonance we need if we're currently living with dementia. Yeah. And goodbye to Catherine Gordon. And thank you, Millie. Yeah. And if you've been in in-person constellation trainings with me, you're very welcome to use that time as part of those 100 hours. And Moira says, are there suggested prerequisites for the dementia course? Not at all. You can come. It's just $20 for the dementia. It's not a course exactly. It's a single one webinar download of science and resonance. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, yeah, so I'm curious about the seed tier level. What I'm curious about is what is the criteria for qualifying for that?
And that's a question for you, Lori.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. If you're from the global south or are in a country where currency has a different, like people don't earn as much related to a global north country, so there's an economic disadvantage there. If any of those things are true, then just let us know. In the application, you can just identify which tier that you think you would most like to apply for, and we can just be in conversation individually with you to say, how that works, and then follow up with a scholarship application if that's something that you might need or are interested in also. Does that help?
Well, it helps, and I wanted something a little bit more specific. So I'm thinking I'm going to the other level, which is the pollinator.
Oh gosh, pollinator. Pollinator is somebody who has an abundance, who is able to provide more or wants to contribute towards scholarships so that more people are able to take the course. So if you're a person who really wants to support Sarah's work and people learning this material, then just choose that level. And you can choose whatever level that you would like to contribute.
Yeah. So my specific question is, if someone is going to apply under the seed level, do they have to provide you with tax forms, or do they provide you with any financial status forms to let you know that they are struggling financially?
No. We're just in conversation, and you just apply. And if you're from Europe or the United States, then we'll think, oh, maybe you're in the global north category. If you're from a different country, like say Mexico or someplace in South America, then we just know you're in that seed tier. And then there might be situations in both of those places where there's additional problems or challenges financially that have been, so we just talk about those and meet people where they're at.
Okay. So when you say the global south, are you talking about South America?
Could be South America, could be Africa, could be New Zealand, could be, it just depends on where it is, but it's generally in North America and Europe, people have more access to resources than in most other countries. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And the other question I had is I have done some one-on-one with resident practitioners, and I'm feeling like to go into the training program is a big jump. Like I still have a lot of issues. I have a lot of barriers. I have a lot of things that stop me. And it seems like a big jump for me. And I'm not sure if the training process includes dealing with my own stuff.
The first section, module 1 to 4 to 2, is focused entirely on ourselves and getting to use the processes with ourselves and identifying the problem areas and being able to get support. In addition, the program, because the past cohort of assistants love the material so much, they really want to return, and their return as journey people, and you'll be getting session work as a part, at least monthly, if not twice a month, as a part of, from Resonant Healing Practitioners as a part of the program. You'll have a rotation of journey people who give resonant healing sessions, because indeed this material this material brings up the trauma. It just does. So we're all in the same boat with that, and we try to create holding containers that acknowledge that. How's this to hear, Lisa?
It's great to hear, and I just want to share that you had mentioned a list of familial relationships, mother, father, siblings, being adopted, whatever it is. And for the first 5 years of my life, I was raised in an institution. So I didn't develop any attachment to anyone because all those that cared for me were paid. Yeah. And so I'm just wondering if that's something that I somehow need to handle first, or if I can include that in the, because it's rather extreme.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to invite two things here. One is an immense compassion for the little one who lived in that situation. And then I guess three things. And secondly, to begin to look at ourselves and the individual and extraordinary circumstances that we grew up in as incredible gifts to the people who become, who receive resonance from us. There are things, Elisa, that you understand, it brings tears to my eyes, that nobody else will understand. There will be places where your body will be able to resonate with folks who had a hell of a time, ages 1 to 5 or 0 to 5, that no one else would be able to resonate with. Your experience is really important. And if we value and honor that, then it takes us in a different direction than, oh, I shouldn't do this because I had because I had a hell of a time, I had bad trauma. No, we should do this because we can bring something completely important to the world as a result of what we've lived through and then what we learn in this program. How are you doing?
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that it's something that I can bring to others, and it's not like I have to be perfect before I do that. Because I feel like I need to resolve that, and I don't see how I can.
I know what you mean. If I thought I had to be perfect to get up here, we would not have this modality. Yeah.
Thank you. No, I feel seen in a way that I don't think I ever have. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Elisa. Lots of people are sending you hearts.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here we are at the end time. Lori, thank you for being here. Maya, thank you for being here. Thank you for putting together a Polish cohort. Maya just kind of came to this about a month and a half ago or a month ago or something. And it's amazing. It's an amazing program. Is Anna Kay here today, Maya? I didn't see her. Okay. Just thank you to Anna Kay. Yeah. And thank you to Joanna for coming in and taking care of us for the second half of the day today, being our Zoom tech. Thank you, Jen, for your presence and commitment. Thank you, Gayatri, who is in Sri Lanka and not with us right in this moment. And thank you to the beloved assistants who are here, who have supported the folks who had ones before their names and who have been through this program. And we love your presence, and we're so grateful to you for this mission of healing and changing the world. It's amazing. All right. Much love and care to everyone. All right. Goodbye for now, everyone. If you'd like to come off mute and say goodbye, I'd love to hear your voices.